Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, today we will discuss about the client-server model in the file sharing, often remote file system. How to imply that client-server model and how to imply the authentication access between the client and the server, and how Windows, NFS and other Active Directory structure uses this information to be passed along the network to the client from the server and requesting back from the server to the client. Remote file systems allow a computer to have one or more file systems to be mounted from one or more computers within an organization. In this case, the computers on which the residing files that is to be shared are known as a client, and the machine or a computer that is seeking access to the files is known as a client. Now, whenever the client-server mechanism is used, it is widely spread via the networking technologies. Now, a client can be specifically tell us that which server it is need to request. Now, a client can request and tell the server that a file is available, and it should be specifically say that which resource has to be shared to which clients. Now, in many operating systems, many clients can support one server or one server can support many clients depending on the client-server implementation of that particular file system maintenance. Now, on a server identification, it is generally done in a volume or directory level. But the client identification is mostly difficult. The client is identifiable over a network address or specifically by an IP address. But these addresses can be spoofed or imitated. The result of spoofing will allow the unauthorized access of a client from a server to which accessing the file. Now, as an unauthorized access can happen, then a server which is not intending to resource share to a particular client can thus be shared to the files to that particular client. So, as a more secured solution, security details are implemented as an encryption keys to the client and server model. A client identification should be used in an encrypted way to provide it to the server, which will then decide to allow or grant and deny the access to the files. But as with security, more complicated algorithms will follow. Such here we have to implement the mechanism that will match for say the encryption algorithm for the client and the server. And even if the encrypted keys are there, it has to check that unauthorized access is to be prevented. So in this way, solving the problems of this type of algorithms matching and this unencrypted or encrypted mechanism, most operating systems use the unsecured authentication methods. Now, for the Unix and the networking file system or NFS uses the client authentication that takes place based on a networking information of the client. In this scheme, the user ID of the client and the server is compared. If it is matched, then the client is allowed to access the files on that server, otherwise it is denied. Say for an example, a user ID on the client is 1000 and that of a server is 2000. So here the server will not be handled the file access to the particular client appropriately, as the determination of the user 1000 is having access to the files rather than the determination based upon the actual user ID that is 2000 on that particular server. The access to the shared files is depending upon that inappropriate authentication information. In this case, the server must trust that the client will provide the correct user IDs. As in NFS, it allows many-to-many models so that the many clients can be applicable to many servers. In fact, a machine can act both a server to many clients and a client to many servers. So in this way, the user ID matching becomes extremely important as a secure authentication implementation in Unix and NFS. Now, once the file systems are mounted over the remote file structure, then the file operation request is shared on behalf of the user across the network to the server via the file sharing program or like FTP or any other DFS protocol. Say for example, a file open operation system is then requested with the user ID of the requesting user. Now the user ID matching and the client server will determine upon the standard access checks that the requesting user has an access to the files in that particular mode that is requested. In that basis of the result, an access is either allowed or denied. If it is allowed, then the client server application will allow to be read, write or other operations on that particular file. After the client application has performed files on that performed operations, then it will be closed. The operating system may apply different semantics on the particular systems or same semantics as a local file system mounting for the remote file system sharing between this client server model. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and subscribe to Ekeeda.